Very much looking forward to your presentation. Welcome, Pascal. We're very much looking forward to your presentation on the 17th World Congress of Art Deco. So please proceed.
Can you hear me well?
Yes. We can, yes. Yes, we see it.
Okay, good. I will turn my camera down. Okay. So good morning, good evening, everyone. So it's late here. First of all, let me quickly introduce me. I'm Pascal Yves Laurent, the president of the Paris Art Deco Society. I really wanted to come to Miami and be with you at this moment, but unfortunately it was not possible. So I would like to thank the organizers of Miami Congress for making this presentation possible by Zoom. And I'm very happy to present to you our project of holding the 70th World Art Deco Congress in 2025 in Paris. We don't know yet the exact dates of the Congress. We think that the best would be at the end of August or the beginning of September, when the climate is still pleasant and the city has not yet taken its hellish rhythm. It also depends on our partners and the availability of Congress centers. We want to be very respectful of the traditional format of Art Deco Congress, as I saw them in Shanghai and Cleveland. As you know, typical Congress consists in 3 parts. The main Congress, but also a pre and post Congress, which allow you to explore Art Deco in the surrounding areas. In 2025, we plan to start with a pre-Congress in Reims and Saint-Quentin. Then the main Congress in Paris will last 6 days. The last 4 days will be devoted to a post-Congress in the north of France and Brussels. The pre-Congress will be held in Reims, a city located just over 1 hour from Paris by train. The city is famous for its champagne, but also for its architecture due to the reconstruction which followed the First World War. A very active Art Deco society will welcome us there. A day in Saint-Quentin is also to be expected. Its heritage is exceptional, and the city is only 1 hour away by bus from Reims. You will see incredible interior spaces, wonderfully restored by a very concerned municipality. For the post-Congress, we will invite you to visit iconic monuments in the north of France, 1 hour and a half by train from Paris. La Villa Cavrois and the Museum Lepetit. Then, finally, let's cross the border to join Brussels by train. The Brussels Art Deco Society will welcome you there with a city full of Art Deco building and monument. It's a real Art Deco firework display. Now let's go to Paris for the main Congress. First of all, 2025 is an opportunity to celebrate 2 major events. The centennial of the exhibition of des Arts Décoratifs et Industriels Modernes, held in Paris in 1925, and the 19th anniversary of the maiden voyage of SS Normandie, the famous ocean liner. Let's talk about the exhibition first. If we make this presentation today, it's because 98 years ago, April 28th, this exhibition was inaugurated. Here is a newspaper showing President Doumergue declaring the exhibition open. The general public would then be able to discover this so-called modern decorative and architectural style, and this would mark the beginning of its global success. That's why April 20th was chosen as a World Art Deco Day by the International Coalition of Art Deco. Here is the general view of the exhibition, but nothing is left of it. It was mainly held on the Esplanade des Invalides at the bottom of the Champs-Élysées. Here are some views of the buildings that have marked the event. The Pavillon du Collectionneur by Pierre Patou and Émile Ruhlmann, the Pavillon de l'Esprit Nouveau by Le Corbusier, and some department stores pavilion. What you can see was a mixture of style ranging from this boudoir still flirting with Art Nouveau and this hyper-modernist building proposed by Mallet Stevens. Now let's come to what we will be able to show you in Paris in 2025. As I said, absolutely nothing remains from the exposition itself. Everything has been destroyed or moved away. Finally, what can most recall the spirit of this exhibition are the museums dedicated to this period. And fortunately, in Paris area, there are several. The most emblematic is the Museum of Decorative Art because it has a large display of period rooms from the 20s, including the office of Pierre Charot, which was exhibited in the French embassy of the 1925 exposition. Another remarkable museum that should not be missed is the 1930s Museum in Boulogne. It's a museum completely dedicated to the 1930s and to the 1920s too. Then comes the Modern Art Museum, open for the 1937 World's Fair. There is Émile Ruhlmann's cabinet, Meuble Char, and one of the 4 panels that Jean Dunant designed for the smoking room of EHESS Normandie. Not to be missed is the Palais de la Porte Dorée. It is not an art museum, but it was built for the colonial exposition of 1931. The bas-reliefs of the facade are incredible. Inside, there are still some rooms fully decorated by the most famous designers of the time, like Émile Ruhlmann and Prince. Sometime we will invite you to visit houses of famous artists, such as Shanna Holoff or Antoine Bourdelle. These houses are still there, left as they were in the 20s and open to visitors. And there is no doubt that in 2025, some museum will not fail to organize major exhibition about the 1925 exposition. Something like this exhibition, Art Deco France-Amérique, presented at the Trocadero this year, is very recently, under the direction of Emmanuel Bréau. But enough about museum. Paris is also an open-air museum in itself, and we will spend a lot of time exploring its streets. We will show you the classics, but we will also take you to districts that are not well known to tourists. Today, we will not go into details, but I still want to give you a little idea of what we will be able to see. Unmissable is the Theatre of the Champs-Élysées, maybe the first Art Deco building ever built, as it was opened as early as 1913. It was here that Josephine Baker began her career in 1925. We will be able to go up the Champs-Élysées and admire its commercial architecture designed for banks, institutions, and shopping malls. Some arcades of the Champs-Élysées have kept their decor since 1926. Closer to the Seine River, there is also the iconic Samaritan, newly completely restored. Then we will have to go to the street called Rue Mallet Stevens, a street entirely designed by this architect in 1928. Not far from there, we will see the Villa Roche, designed by Le Corbusier in 1925. In the same years, were built some ministries like the Ministry of Social Affairs, with Jacques Gruber's glasswork and Martel Brothers bas-reliefs. Paris is full of public facilities and monuments built in the Art Deco styles, and which intended to bring comfort and beauty to Parisians. They are everywhere. Here are some examples of public baths. A lot of schools, colleges, high schools have incredible craftsman works. Churches also are a rich example of interior architecture and art. And I hope we could go into the Grand Rex. It's a movie theater which opened in 1932. It is an atmospheric theater inspired by the American example of the time. At the time, many architects wanted to bring the countryside to Paris. So there are many streets built in the 1920s and 1930s that were intended for middle class and modest people. These districts are among the most charming in Paris, but you must know how to find them, and of course, we will be there to guide you. And finally, one of the biggest programs of the interwar period are the low-cost housing projects. They collected the most modern forms of their time, and they surround Paris almost all around it. The two red lines show the location of most of them. It forms a real Art Deco fortress defending Paris. Of course, we won't see all of them, but some parts are really interesting. The other event we will have to celebrate is the maiden voyage of the ocean liner EHESS Normandie. He left an equally significant imprint on Paris, as did the 1925 exposition. These streamlines were revolutionary, and it is probably at the origin of the popularity of a streamlined modern style, called style paquebot in France. Paquebot is ocean liner. There are many examples of the influence of his design in Paris. Here are a few cases where we should show it to you. A nursery school which copied the rear deck of the liners. And no wonder, because the design was done by the same architect, Roger-Henri Expert. Some building seems to be liners made in concrete, and the superstructures stand proudly against a fictional ocean. This one is for 1936. And some are artistic cubic vision of large liners, especially when the architect is also the one who designed EHESS Normandie, Pierre Patou. Last tribute may be the 1937 World's Fair, which followed the launch of EHESS Normandie by 2 years. The Palace of the Trocadero is the most famous building left after the fair. The grand perspectives of interiors of his palace recalls the monumentality of the interior spaces of a ship. To compare, you can see the dining room of EHESS Normandie on the picture on the left side corner. And it is no coincidence that every year we hold our Christmas dinner there. We will try to make sure that each moment is an immersion into the past. For the conference hall, we have several possibilities. The House of Chemistry, which is a Congress Center opened in the 1930s, in 1931, exactly. Or the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, enlarged at the end of the 20s and decorated by Emil Ruhlmann. For the Congress, we are also in talks with the Town Hall of the 5th District. It was completely redesigned in 1928. Unless the City Hall of the 14th District allows us to use its party hall, you'll find works of Edgar Brandt, Raymond Sub in every room. But our favorite place is the Palace of Vienna, built for the 1937 exhibition by Auguste Perret. This is the concrete stair. And this is a Congress Hall. It's exceptional, and we could probably use it for a few days. It is located in the west part of Paris and could be the center of some of the most interesting urban walk. The 16th district with the Rue Malestíven and the Trocadero, and also the Villa Le Corbusier and a lot of other buildings. What we call the district nicknamed the Golden Triangle, with the Champs-Élysées and the Avenue Montaigne, and the Theatre of Champs-Élysées. The World Fair district, the World Fair field, where most of the World's Fair were built, including the one for 1925. From there, it would be easy to go to Montparnasse to spend evening and having dinner at La Coupole. Another day, we could take a tour in a convertible bus on a trip covering the south of Paris, punctuated by major visits. The ultimate highlight would be the Palais de la Porte Dorée. But what makes the charm of the Congress is not only the succession of visit and lecture, it is also the immersion in another period, and in 2025, we have to welcome you in 1925. We want you to leave Paris with the feeling of having crossed the mirror, just like the character of Woody Allen in Midnight in Paris. We could eat at the Relais Plaza, full of the spirit of EHESS Normandie. Or the most luxurious of all, Chez Prunier, designed in 1925 by the architect of the Hotel Lutetia, Hippolyte Boileau. Most central is the vaudeville, unchanged since 1927. We are hoping to be able to recompose the menu of the time. And maybe the most famous place to eat is La Coupole, the absolute home of the legendary Montparnasse crowd of the Roaring Twenties. Each column was painted in the 20s by an artist of the district. After dinner, we may have a drink at La Closerie des Lilas, where you might come across the soul of Ernest Hemingway, Francis Scott Fitzgerald, or Henry Miller. Or we can have a glass of champagne at the bar of the Provence Opera Hotel. It's a 1925 time capsule. It would, of course, be unthinkable to come to Paris without planning to do some shopping, whether it's luxurious brand, thrift stores, antique shops, or flea markets. We will do everything to take you to places out of time so that you never realize that we are not anymore in the first half of the 20th century. Of course, we will suggest hotels close to the Congress Center, but also hotels further away, but exceptionally well preserved. For example, the Mercedes Hotel, designed in 1928 by the architect of the Pavillon du Collectionneur and EHESS Normandie, Pierre Patou. Its breakfast room displays some stained glasses by Gruber, which are really wonders. The newly restored Hotel Rochechouart has a very nice Art Deco dining room. Its rooftop offers a breathtaking view on the Sacré-Cœur. The small Raspail Hotel like to cultivate its Art Deco heritage. Some of its rooms have a panoramic view upon the Montparnasse district. The Prince de Galles Hotel, Avenue Montaigne. Its entrance hall is a tribute to Émile Ruhlmann, and the sidewalks of Avenue Montaigne reminds you at every step that here was the district of the fashion designers of the period. It's very close by the Theatre of the Champs-Élysées. If you may prefer the modernity of the Hôtel du Collectionneur, whose name is a tribute to the 1925 pavilion of Émile Ruhlmann. It opened in 2014, so everything is new, but the staging of this decor cannot leave you indifferent. For the one who won't be tired and want to experiment the Roaring Twenties in Paris, we will manage a full program. The dancing hall at La Coupole offers wonderful parties organized by the Baron de Paname. And it's like being back to the heart of the Roaring Twenties with live band and incredible costumes. Perhaps we'll have a chance that a theater or showplace such as the Folies Bergères will develop a show in tribute to the 20s. Finally, let's dream of an evening at the Palais de la Porte Dorée. The decor from 1931 is still there, just begging to be brought back to life. Here we are at the end of this journey into time. Paris Art Deco Society teams hope that this presentation could make you dream a little. We'll remind you that everything that we have proposed here is possibly achievable, but that we cannot promise everything yet. We have a little bit more than 2 years ahead of us to make it possible. Thank you for your attention and see you in 2025.
Thank you very much, Pascal. I think you've sold us.
Yeah.
We're very much looking forward to coming to Paris.
Yeah.
So thanks very much for the introduction, and we can't wait to see it for real in person.
Thank you. Does some people have a few questions?
Pardon me?
Maybe some people have questions?
Any?
Questions?
Yes. The question is, how many visitors do you expect? How many can you handle?
We're thinking about 200.
200, okay. 200, he said. That's enough for us, plus quite a number.
Yeah.
Will the speakers be speaking English or French?
I think it will be mostly in English. It depends on who will present the lectures. I mean, we will make a call for lectures, and if a speaker is French and doesn't speak English, we'll have some translation. But I think the majority of the lecture will be in English. All the guides too, and everything will be in English.
How large is the Art Deco Society of Paris?
We are about 150 people. I mean, paying members. and our board is 12 members.
I have a question, Pascal. Have you decided on a time of year?
As I said at the beginning, we think like end of August or beginning of September, before the city. I mean, Paris is very quiet during the summer because everybody is in vacation. So we want the city not to be too quiet, but not to be too crowded. So end of August, where the weather is usually good, and the people are starting to come back, but it's not the full live city with traffic everywhere, and so I think it's a good period. Or maybe beginning of July. We depend also from the Congress centers, because the Congress centers cannot tell us yet, cannot reserve so long in advance. So we approach them, but they say it's too early. So we'll see. But we have we have several possibilities for Congress. So I'm pretty sure we'll find a good one. And as I said, the Palais Iéna is really the best, because the location is really, really good.
Any other questions?
There are many people that have gone to many congresses, and as a result of that, they have a great deal of wealth of knowledge of what works, what they like, what hasn't worked so well. And I'm sure they would love to share some of those with your planning committee. So would they email you? Would they email your site? I mean, it just might give you some ideas to make this the very best Congress if you heard from those persons.
Yeah, I mean, they can, on our website, we have a contact address. So, and the website is Paris Art Deco Society. You will find the website directly. And we have a mailing address, an email address. Or you can write to P.Y. Laurent, P.Y.L.A.U.R.E.N.T. At Paris. I don't know. What is it? It's but I haven't been prepared for that. Well, our website has all the information, so it's the best to write to us from there.
For our part, we do intend to send you all an evaluation of this World Congress.
Yeah.
And so we certainly would share that with Pascal, which I think would be very helpful to him and his fellow planners for the 17th World Congress. Any other questions?
I really wanted to go to Miami to be with you. But I've been to Cleveland, and I've been to Shanghai in 2015, and Cleveland 2016. So I already seen congresses, and I have a pretty good idea of what could be done and what we could do. But of course, I only have seen 2 of them. So the more I will have advice, the better it will be.
Roberta has a question.
Yeah.
More of a statement in that ICADS, the board of ICADS, will also be working closely with Pascal. So any comments people have, we're going to share with Pascal, and we're going to be having our regular board meetings. Pascal is on our board to give us frequent updates. So we'll also be able to guide him.
Thank you, Roberta.
Anyone else? Well, Pascal, your presentation was spectacular.
Thank you.
I'm sure all of us, should we live long enough, we'll definitely be there in 2 years.
Okay.
Thanks
Thank you
very much for the presentation.
Thank you very much. Okay,
Bye-bye, Pascal. Thanks very much.
bye. Thank you, bye.